Hey everyone, shout out to Gruff69,
Nice.
thank you Corey, for winning our sleeper contest this week with a whopping 12 wins. You can still join our contest, but it's a little bit late in the game to win it in the regular season. You can still win week to week though, no financial commitment required, so feel free to sign up. On today's episode of the Sports Ballers, we will be recapping what we saw in week 3 and talking a little bit about what we expect to see in week 4, and it's all football all the time. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the Sports Ballers podcast. My name is Eric Meyer. I am joined by Evan Ash and Corey Puffett as always. Gentlemen, how are we feeling today?
I am feeling excellent.
I figured you might be, Evan.
Kind of terrible, but we're hanging in there.
Well, Evan's taken L's in multiple fronts to his podcast co-hosts. Corey's Lions beat Evan's Ravens last night in a pretty darn good football game. And my Pulp, my fantasy team, beat Evan's team, whatever they're called, the Dark Avengers or something like that.
As they have been for some time.
For the whole time, I think. Right?
No,
Most of it. Yeah.
he was the Bolt ATL engineers for the first 2
Oh,
years.
that's right. Back in the day, yeah. But anyway, we had a pretty good contest. I was up by 30-ish points heading into Monday Night Football. But
Yeah,
Mark Andrews
decided
remembered he was good during the regular season and was making $16 million a year and decided to catch a couple of tutties, including one in garbage time, but not quite enough to give Evan the lead.
Doesn't matter,
so,
still counts.
yeah. It still counts, but
Not enough to give him the win against you or to give the Ravens the win against the Lions.
yes.
No.
So we'll start obviously with that game because it was Monday night. It was between two very good teams, and it was between y'all two's teams. We'll leave my team out of this because ain't nobody need to talk about that. But anyway, winners talk first. So Corey, how you feeling about what you saw?
I'm feeling really good about it. Going into this week, I did not expect us to win. I picked the Lions in our pick'em pool with the spread because we were like 5.5 point underdogs or something like that. It's like, I don't think that they're going to beat us by that much. But playing in Baltimore, I know it's Monday night and the Lions have been crushing on Monday night under Dan Campbell. But in Baltimore early in the season, I haven't been super impressed with what I've seen from our offensive line through the first 2 games. And even last night, we didn't do a great job run blocking. And we did allow a few pressures on Jared Goff, but he got the ball out quickly, and they did a good enough job for him to be the first quarterback in 57 games that the Ravens failed to record a sack on. But, I had been concerned about the offensive line. The defense has been kind of getting lit up, especially early in games. Those pre-scripted plays that coaches come up with had been kind of tearing us up, and we saw a little bit of that last night. The Ravens pretty easily went down the field and responded on their first offensive possession, but both of those units really looked a lot better in this game, especially as the game wore on. The offensive line played better deeper in the game. The defense really tightened things down in the second half in particular. They let the Ravens drive down the field and score a go-ahead touchdown to open the second half. But after that, they virtually shut down Baltimore until it was garbage time. So I felt really good about what I saw last night. It makes me feel a lot more confident about what this team can and should be able to do going forward this season. It makes me feel a little bit more confident with my kind of homer pick of having the Lions in the Super Bowl this year. That was my preseason pick, was for the Lions to win the Super Bowl. And after week 1, I was like, not that I think we're going to be terrible or anything off of one game against a good Packers team, but I had some concerns about whether this team could be viable as a playoff contender, and now I'm feeling a lot better about our chances in the NFC.
Yeah, from my perspective, this felt more like we do this all the time, and it's really stupid, but this felt more like a Lions won this game more so than the Ravens lost it, which, normally, but the Ravens lose a lot of games.
Yes,
but
they
this
do.
just felt
John
like
Harbaugh coaches his
yes,
team to lose a lot.
This
of
just
games.
felt like a game where the Lions were just the better team for 60 minutes, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, there wasn't really a point in time at any point in the fourth quarter of this game where the Ravens had the game in hand, where it felt like the Ravens should win this game. It, at best, was still up in the air for the Ravens. And, they failed to capitalize on one really poor possession for the Lions where I felt like we should have been able to put the game away, and we didn't do that. And then our defense did what they needed to give our offense another chance. And then Man Campbell pulling all the stops. I mean, that 4th and 2 play, the pass to Amon-Ra, just gutsy.
Yep, gutsy from the play calling perspective and from Goff to be able to make that throw, because like a 4th and 2, you're usually looking for something easy to complete and just hope the defense doesn't jump it. But
that's
get
the
behind
thing.
the defense.
I feel like Goff is criminally underrated. I'm not going to say he's a top 3 quarterback or even necessarily a top 5 quarterback, but I think he's in that range, like just outside the top 5. I don't think I can think of 5 quarterback, or at least not more than 5 quarterbacks off the top of my head that I would put ahead of Goff.
I mean,
right now, like Josh Allen, I'd put ahead of Goff. Lamar Jackson, I'll put ahead of Goff. When he's healthy, if you want to count him, Joe Burrow, I'll put ahead of Goff. Maybe Baker Mayfield, because not only does he have the throwing ability, but he's shown that last year's running capabilities were not an aberration. He's doing more of that again this year too. And then after him, there's a lot of guys who maybe you put in that range, but like I wouldn't say definitively that Jaden Daniels is better than Jared Goff. I wouldn't say right now that Patrick Mahomes is definitively better than Jared Goff. If you look at the body of work, sure, but based on how they've been playing over the last 3 years, like a lot of metrics say that Goff has been better. Justin Herbert, I'm not putting him ahead of Goff, even though he's also a very talented quarterback. So like at worst, he's like 6 or 7. Who like somewhere in that range though. He's a really good quarterback who just doesn't get a lot of credit for the type of throws he can make, his accuracy. He came into last night's game over 80% completions in the first 2 games of the season. He's only the second quarterback in NFL history to go 4 consecutive games completing 75% or more of his passes, the other being Tom Brady.
Was he good?
He was pretty good.
Okay.
Not generational, but pretty good.
Oh my God. Not a generational talent though. Yeah, like I've noticed there's been a bit of a couple years ago we talked about it on this show about how the quarterbacking situation in the league looked dire, but you had the reemergence of Jared Goff now with the Lions. You had Baker Mayfield emerging with the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels comes into the league. Jalen Hurts emerges as a star player. We're in a pretty good spot now. Like I think we've got 12 legit quarterbacks in this league where I feel like the team that has them should feel like if we put a good roster around them, we can contend for a Super Bowl. And Jared Goff's definitely in that group.
100%.
So let's talk about the Ravens a little bit. Mm-hmm. Evan, I'll let you lead that because that's your team, and they just lost.
I know we've had a whole lot of Honolulu Blue positivity so far in the show, but that's not really what I do here. So we've got a lot of issues, we'll start up front with the offensive line. Lamar Jackson got sacked 7 times, which is a ridiculous amount. It's not always on just a quarterback or just on the offensive line. It's not any one person's fault when you get sacked 7 times, but it's obviously a problem. So they got to tighten that up because that's ridiculous, right? You can't get your quarterback hit 7 times. Lamar was pressured. I think I saw he was pressured 30 times last night.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
I think that
how do you expect to win when that's going to happen?
I think those plays are really a combination of 3 or 4 different factors. Yes, the offensive line is allowing pressure, but the defensive line is also getting quick pressure and forcing Lamar into a situation where he has to try to escape the pocket. Mm-hmm. And then as he's escaping the pocket, which he's ridiculously good at doing, our defensive backs are also doing a great job in coverage, not allowing him to get a throw off, which means he has to hold the ball longer. While our defensive line is also somehow managing to not only generate that pressure, through the offensive line, but then also contain him so that he can't scramble and hit the edge and get a bunch of yards while our defensive backs are turned away from the play to make sure they're staying on their assignments.
Yeah, what I saw was something that Ravens fans probably aren't familiar with because they haven't seen it in a long time. I saw one team come in with a really strong game plan to limit a very talented offense and an elite quarterback, and I saw them execute it at a high level and win a football game. That doesn't happen for the Ravens, and that's what bothers me about them. Is it feels like every week they have to go out and win purely on talent, whether it's Lamar's or Derrick Henry's or the talent on the defense, Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith. It never seems like, hey, we have a plan to make Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, whoever, uncomfortable, and just have a drive or two where you fool them or you take something away from them and you force a turnover or you get a big sack. That doesn't appear to be in the Ravens' bag, and that very much the Lions were on point. Like you said, Corey, Lamar was starting to get ready to escape, and there's always just another Lion there to tackle him. That was the case all night. Like the 7 sacks, Lamar was holding the ball way too long, but that's because Lamar can always get away with holding the ball way too long, except last night, because the Lions weren't allowing him to sort of escape and get away and improvise and do the things that make him special. And, they gave up 30 points, which, to me, against the Ravens on the road, that's a huge win.
Low.
Well, it's especially a huge win when you think about, so during the pregame, there was a report from, I forget who was doing the sideline reporting last night on Monday Night Football, but
It was Laura Rutledge and Lisa Salters.
yeah.
Yes.
So one of them brought up that the Lions brought in former Ravens quarterback Malik Cunningham, who I had never heard of before, to
He
basically
played at Liberty, and he was a second rounder for the Titans.
he basically
That was Malik
serves.
Willis.
Yeah, that was Malik Willis, who's with the Packers.
Oh,
Is he still with the Packers?
Yeah, he's still with the
Okay.
Packers.
Unsure.
But in any case, Malik Cunningham is a former Ravens quarterback who the Lions brought in this week to
Malik
be the
Cunningham,
scout team
man?
quarterback to simulate Lamar Jackson, and our defense was getting cooked by him, apparently.
Well, sounds like Malik Cunningham needs to get signed up for a real job then, because the
Because
Lions
somehow we managed to contain Lamar
he,
Jackson.
he got you ready for the real thing pretty well, apparently. So Evan, I have a couple questions for you because
I
again,
have more complaining to do.
I'm sure you
What
do,
got?
but I might lead you into some of your complaints. Because again, I think that this is the case of the Lions being a very good team who was very well prepared, and they just beat another good team.
Yes.
That's the overall picture. My observations from this game, and I'm bringing out I'm a Podfather guy, as are you. Well, we both listen to Simmons quite a bit. Simmons oftentimes talks about body language, and he's a bit of a quote-unquote pseudo body language doctor. The Ravens' body language last night, from a lot of their players, from Lamar to Derrick Henry after he fumbled, to the defensive players, to John Harbaugh himself, was dreadful. Like they don't look like they're all pulling in the same direction. Like the Lions are all pulling in the same direction.
100%.
Dan Campbell's got that team. Win or lose, draw, whatever, they're all going north. The Ravens seem like they're just not sure which direction is up. Like they're just figuring things out. Offensive line play, that Falale guy, he's terrible. Like what's his deal?
He's just unathletic, and
But he also just looks lost. Like it's one thing to get cooked. He's like spinning around. Like, am I supposed
what
to?
do I do?
Am I
Exactly.
supposed to push somebody
Am
now?
I supposed to block or just watch?
Yeah, and-
he spends so much time watching. He should buy a ticket too. I don't know what he's doing out there.
Yeah, and
right, like when you're 6'8" and 400 pounds. I understand movement isn't really your thing, but this is the NFL. You have to move. You have to do something, right? So like he's just standing there looking. More guys standing there looking. The whole defensive line, right? Like Nnamdi Madubuike was out with a neck injury. I have no idea what's wrong with him.
he has a neck injury.
But well,
I think you
yes.
just answered the question.
No, what it was,
and then questioned your own answer.
I mean, more specifically, what's wrong with his neck? Right? Is it a nearly headless Nick situation, or does he just have a little tweak? Right?
Well,
I don't know.
I imagine he's not a nearly headless Nick situation because nearly headless Nick was very clearly dead.
Oh, okay.
And I imagine we would know if he was deceased.
Madubuike needs to be out there because the defense last night was, just absolutely toasted and physically dominated and pushed around, and they should be embarrassed today watching the film. right? Like, you can't look down at your chest and say you play on the Ravens defense after putting that performance on tape last night. Are you kidding me? Right? They just didn't do anything. I never heard Kyle Hamilton's name mentioned one time.
Yeah.
He was just a non-factor, right? Like, at least Marcus Williams was a factor in the game by just letting people run wide open. Kyle Hamilton didn't do anything. He was just, there's number 14, just, getting his sprints in. Marlon Humphrey on the
Amon-Ra touchdown.
Yeah.
Got fried.
Yeah, he got fried a lot. I was thinking of the 4th and 2.
Got fried
right?
there too,
Yeah,
yes.
because,
held and still got cooked.
Right, exactly. Right? He committed a penalty, and he was looking in the backfield, both of which you shouldn't have been doing on that play. Right? Do your job, and only that. But, the guys up front got toasted, in the run game. So, it's kind of human nature if you're a defensive back to kind of be peeking in the backfield in a, kind of obvious run situation. So that needs to be fixed. The only other offensive complaint is for Derrick Henry. I'm going to need you to hold onto the ball, man.
3 fumbles in 3 games. 2 of them lost.
That's obviously unacceptable.
He had 0 fumbles. Or actually, no, he had 3 fumbles in 17 games played last season for the Ravens, after having 0 fumbles the year before that in almost as many carries with the Titans.
Right, exactly.
And then the year before that, in 16 games for the Titans, he had 6 fumbles. So, are we on the way back to that Derrick Henry? Because that's no good.
No, it's not, right? The most important thing is possession of the football. You have to maintain possession of the football. So,
The most important thing to winning a football game is to not lose the football game.
Right, exactly.
Thank you, Mike McDaniel, who is still here.
Despite your
Despite
predictions
you,
last prediction.
sharpening the hatchet all week last show.
I mean, I thought I was justified, but this is an aside. The Dolphins fought pretty hard in that game, so they kept their boy around. He has now been usurped as the favorite for first coach fired. That distinct honor belongs to Brian Callahan now because he is toast.
Oh, yeah.
That man stinks.
I don't remember which team
He's
with.
coached the
Titans.
Titans.
He currently coaches the Titans.
Week after week, he has some of the most inexplicable. They got a delay of game while setting up for a field goal after a timeout.
What?
Yeah, that happened.
So I haven't watched enough of the Titans because they're
You don't need
unwatchable.
To.
they're unwatchable.
They're trash,
and they're
yeah.
on the Red Zone channel so infrequently when
Because
they're
they're
playing.
bad, yeah.
Because they're bad. Basically just once a game they go over and they're like, oh, by the way, while we were on this more interesting game, we had a Cam Ward to Alec Ironman touchdown pass.
Yeah.
And that's all I see from the Titans, basically.
It's like 10
Moving
years
on.
ago
Yeah.
when, during the early window, 8 of the 9 games were in halftime and, the Lions were playing in Landover and, people were complaining oh my God, take this game off the red zone. I'm like, well, none of the other games are going on.
Even so,
Yeah.
show us commercials.
Yes, we want commercials now. We'd rather have that. The Titans are that type of team. I'd also like to put the Giants on that list because they're unwatchable garbage as well. I can't take it anymore.
Got some news about them this week.
Yes.
Russell
Yeah.
Wilson has finally been benched. And by finally, it's only week 3, but
Well,
we're already sick of him.
Well, it's interesting because he actually played pretty well in the Cowboys game 2 weeks ago.
Let's be real. The Cowboys, as astutely pointed out, sometimes you need a nickname for a bad defense. And again, this isn't me, so don't give me credit for this. But because all the good defenses, the Steel Curtain, the Purple People Eaters, the Dome Patrol, all that stuff, Legion of Boom, they're the Make-A-Wish Foundation defense. They're out here making dreams come true, making Russell Wilson feel like he's good again, making Caleb Williams feel like he's an actual NFL quarterback. That's
Getting
the
people
Cowboys
paid.
defense.
That's
So,
all
my
fair. It's so bizarre that you can have that good of a game, that much of a confidence booster, or what should be that much of a confidence
It's called a
booster,
get-right game.
and then you go and play a Chiefs team that is at the lowest they have been in the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid era.
Yep.
And you couldn't take advantage at home.
I mean, it was at Azkaban.
Mahomes
So,
threw a
that's-
backwards pass that was sitting on the turf. The Giant picked it up and had a clear path to the end zone, and they let Mahomes just come and take the ball from him. The 10-point
He
swing.
didn't play to the whistle.
It was just insane. But all right, so last thoughts on the Ravens before we move on, because I said we would spend a little bit of time on that.
Odafe Owe and David Ajaba, where are y'all at? Right? Because, it was a big deal that Kyle Van Noy was out. And I'm like, Kyle Van Noy was a guy we signed off of his couch. That's not somebody you should be counting on, and you should be, just completely dysfunctional when he's not there.
So, again, body language wasn't great. Lamar seemed like he was stressing over every incompletion that he threw. And he didn't throw that many.
I'm stressing over it too.
Well, this is why you guys lose, though, because y'all don't seem to have confidence. And also, what worries me more so than the Derrick Henry fumble numbers is the fact that he looked like he was legitimately, having to reevaluate his whole life.
No, he
after
really
that
did.
fumble.
He's
he couldn't even slam his helmet down correctly. He was looking like Odell Beckham Jr. over on the sideline when he hit the kicking net and then the net hit him back. Right? He just looked like he was going to hurt himself. I'm like, my goodness, that is not future Hall of Famer Derrick Henry that I'm used to seeing. So last question, though, for you, Evan. We've talked enough about the defense, who was clearly the big problem for the Ravens in this game. Zach Orr, your defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Is this on him, or is this somebody else's issue? Because the Ravens defense got good late last year. They were excellent 2 years ago when they had Mike McDonald, who is now coaching Seattle's defense to becoming really good. So is this a scheme thing? Do they need to consider moving on from him? What's the deal?
I think Zach Orr as the coordinator, right, is part of the problem, right?
And he had never called plays defensively before this
Right.
year, so he's
last year.
inexperienced. Okay, well, still,
He's new at this still. So that's part of the problem. The
Counterpoint, I think this falls more on the Ravens offense, just keeping in mind that the Lions offense is really, really good.
yes.
Like, any defense is going to have some trouble slowing them down. I mentioned on the show last week after we put up 50 plus on the Bears that Goff was the fourth quarterback in NFL history to quarterback a team to 5 or more games of 50 plus points on offense. So this is an explosive offense. You guys held us to 38 points last night.
I mean, the Ravens defense, kind of Taco Bellified the explosiveness of the offense, just turned it up a little more.
Sure, but last year we averaged 33.5 points a game. So 35 is not that far above and beyond what we were averaging last year.
That's all true, but the Ravens were at home, and they have invested most of their capital on the defensive side of the ball. So they should be held to a standard of, I'm not expecting you to shut the Lions out or even hold them under 20. Just get a couple of stops when
How
it
about
matters.
a stop?
And they couldn't generate that. So again, and like I said at the top of the show, I said this is more of a Lions victory than a Ravens loss because the Lions are really good, and they went out, and I think that, in terms of what does this do for the Lions, I think the team always had belief, but it certainly reinvigorates the fans after, week one. Like you said, Corey, was a struggle, against the Packers, and then you beat up on the Bears. Who cares, right?
Right.
You go into Baltimore and stare down a contender with that madhouse situation on Monday Night Football, and you win the game, and you win it, pretty comfortably. Like, it was not in question at the end who was going to win. That's an impressive W, and that can certainly galvanize you and get you back in the division race, especially with the Packers losing to the Browns this week.
Who we face next week. We play the Browns next week.
Yeah, so it's gonna get interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to some other action because we spent 20 plus minutes on this game.
Almost 30.
25. Yeah. So let's talk. We had some wild finishes. We had 3 walk-off field goals and 1 walk-off, not really a field goal, but a blocked field goal, return for a touchdown by Jordan Davis, who has wheels.
Who didn't need to score the touchdown for them to
did.
get the win,
He
but
did.
I thank him for it because it gave me one of my 4 wins against the spread this
It
week.
gave me one of my wins, too. It was a bad
y'all
beat.
picked that.
Yeah, we picked the Eagles to cover, and
Wow.
they did on that play. But anyway, so that was clearly the game of the week during the Sunday slate, and it lived up to the hype. The Eagles fell behind 26-7. But then Jalen Hurts rallied the team. They scored, I think, was it 3 straight touchdown drives to put them up. We finally saw a bit of a downfield passing threat from Philly, which we had been yearning for 2.5 games. And they brought it out when they needed it, and it looked pretty darn good. Meanwhile, the Rams got that lead, but they kind of sat on it a little bit, got conservative, and their kicking game sucked, and that doomed them.
Yeah. Kicking game sucked. For whatever reason, like each week they're giving more and more carries to Blake Corum. And like if you look at what he's doing with them, for the most part, he's really not doing anything that you would look at and say, oh man, like they need to give him the ball more. Like they need to give Kyron Williams more plays off. No, absolutely not. Kyron's your guy.
It's not a Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard situation where
even with Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard was like completely different because by that time, like Elliott was kind of
he was on the decline,
the decline already. Kyron Williams is not on the decline. He's still pretty
like
young.
In year 3.
Yeah, like this is his 3rd year of relevance, and he's been excellent every year. He's been healthy every year. Like, use him.
Yeah, I agree.
Like y'all did not put Blake Corum on the field last year, despite what all the Blake Corum truthers out there were trying to say, for a reason.
Oh. Well,
Remember that reason.
You can't listen to Michigan fans, though, because they're a little, their heads are a little inflated.
I mean, now I'm looking at it. Jim Harbaugh won a national championship with Blake Corum and J.J. McCarthy as his QB-RB tandem.
Yeah.
Is he the greatest coach of all time? Because these guys aren't
Nick
good.
Saban with these guys?
Like,
I mean,
goodness.
To get in the NFL, like at all, you have to be great in college. So, like, if you assemble a bunch of great college players...
That's not true. We've seen that not be true. Come on. Anthony Richardson is in the NFL. He was a first-round pick. He was a top 5 pick.
I could have told you he was a bum. I watched him in college. He wasn't good there either. I don't know what the Colts were doing. Right? That's their fault.
We'll talk about them in a second.
If we must.
We must,
Oh,
actually.
we must.
We must.
I don't think we must.
But so, yeah, the great game, again, Rams couldn't get it done, had 2 kicks blocked, back-to-back possessions, one which would have put the game away effectively, and the other which would have won them the game at the horn. Instead, both got blocked. Again, one returned for a touchdown. Jordan Davis has wheels. And that game was hilarious. The Eagles, I feel like they kind of needed this a little bit because they were kind of skating by on this ridiculous dink and dunk offense. Don't throw the ball down the field even though you've got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And then they fall behind, and they're like, oh, yeah, wait, Jalen Hurts actually is a good quarterback. And he's not just, like, he should not be a guy that has the stat of most time to throw and fewest air yards down the field at the same time.
Going back to the Dallas game, the season opener, Hurts had that one like really nice downfield throw to Devontae Smith, and I was like, man, this guy can throw the ball.
It's one of the things he's consistently good at. He can throw the ball down the field. He's a really good deep ball thrower.
And yet, going into this past week, I think he was like dead last in the NFL in yards per attempt. He was like somewhere around 5 yards per attempt.
Yeah.
And his yards per completion was not that much higher. It was like in the low to mid 7s.
Anything lower than 10 is an abomination for yards per completion.
Pretty bad.
Like,
he hit 10.8 against the Rams, but he was at 6.7 against the Chiefs and 8.0 against the Cowboys. And the Cowboys game included that long downfield pass to Devontae Smith that by itself should have allowed him to easily clear 10. So, I haven't been able to tell if that's an issue with Hurts or if it's an issue with the play calling, but right now I'm leaning toward it's probably more so an issue with the play calling.
Well, because again, we've seen him do it in the past. We saw him do it in the Super Bowl. We saw him do it late last year with Kellen Moore as their play caller. So, again, the Eagles have consistently had brain drains the last 4 years. They get to the Super Bowl, both offensive and defensive coordinator leave for head coaching jobs. And then they have an abysmal, I think his name was Brian Johnson, something. It wasn't Ben Johnson, we know that. Calling plays in 2023, and it was a disaster. He was dismissed. Kellen Moore comes in. The offense looks good again. Obviously, getting Saquon Barkley helped. And now this year, another new offensive coordinator because Kellen Moore took the Saints job, which he's probably regretting right now. So it's maybe just kind of getting on the same page and working things out. But I think the Eagles kind of found something offensively. Meanwhile, the Rams, again, tough loss, but they looked good. Like I actually came away feeling better about the Rams because I was a little worried that they were good but not great. I think they're absolutely in the mix to win the NFC. I think they're
I agree
really,
with
really
that
good.
too.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of my concerns with the Rams really stemmed from Matt Stafford's preseason back injury concerns.
Getting epidurals
He
and
still
stuff.
looks beat up, but he was playing good ball.
Right, exactly.
So, as long as he's on the field,
as long as they can keep him upright and
just roll him out
on
there
the field, then they're going to be okay because Puka's playing really well. Devontae Adams
he's
still
back.
has plenty of juice in the tank. Kyron Williams is really good as long as they actually use him.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good offense, and their defense is still very solid.
It's better than their defense is better than I thought it would be.
Yes.
That unit looks really good. So let's move to a couple other games because again we exhausted the plurality of our time on Ravens Lions. So Chargers, not the San Diego Chargers, are still in that habit. It's been almost a decade, Eric. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
But the LA Chargers beat the Broncos in an AFC West matchup. They won 23-20 with a field goal at the gun.
Yeah.
Common situation this week. I mean, this game was big just because I think that the Broncos are 1-2. They're coming off of that really weird loss to the Colts. But I still feel like they're pretty good, right? Like their defense actually showed up this week and limited the Chargers, who have had pretty good offensive games so far. But, again, I feel like Justin Herbert is starting to maybe take that step that we've been wanting to take because this was a game that they could have and probably should have lost 6 different ways, and the old Chargers absolutely would have lost this game, but they found a way to win.
He still has that connection with Keenan Allen now that Allen's back in LA. I think that's making a big difference for them because a lot of the other receivers just are very inconsistent game to game. Najee Harris went down with the injury, but Omari and Hampton has been really good, so I don't think they're going to be losing very much in terms of running back productivity there. It's just going to be a question of can Omari and Hampton handle that workload, or are they going to suffer a little bit with whoever they need to bring in to fill the role that he was filling behind Najee? That will remain to be seen. But the real thing for the Chargers, I think, is that their defense has been really strong, stronger than we thought it would be coming to the season. And the Broncos defense has not been as impressive as they were touted to be coming into the year. So it's not to mention that Bo Nix is not looking like the Bo Nix we saw last year. He's looked kind of bad most of these first 3 games.
He was really bad week 1. He was mostly good in week 2 until the end.
Yep.
They threw a bad pick that put them in position to blow that lead.
And they just felt kind of all over the place in this Chargers game.
Well, as Evan, we are Bo Nix experts.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seemed like all these Auburn quarterbacks, there's Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham, right? These guys, what?
Why are they in the same
Because
sentence?
they went to Auburn.
They did
Okay,
both go to Auburn.
Sure, but
Yeah.
Bo Nix is actually starting in the NFL and has had a little bit of success in the NFL.
Made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Which I completely forgot about.
I mean, they were in the playoffs for a few minutes, and then,
And the Bills sent
Approximately
them packing.
60.
yeah. Well, I think it was more like 10.
Yeah. Like the Bills are sort of occupying that 2 seed every year, although this year it looks like they very well might get the 1 seed with the way they're playing and with the way the Ravens
They
are playing.
could. That's what I predicted going into the year.
But the last few years, it's been they've always been in the 2 spot, and they've walloped whatever fake playoff team gets the 7
I know
spot.
Indy went up there and got clobbered.
The Steelers,
The Steelers
got
got clobbered, and
Yeah. The
the
Broncos got clobbered
Broncos
last year.
got clobbered. The 7th seed, I think only the Packers beat the Cowboys as a 7th seed
Which is on brand for the
Yes.
Cowboys. Yeah.
because the Cowboys got clobbered that
Yep.
day.
Yes, they did.
I don't mind the only having one team in each conference getting a bye. I don't like the 7 seed.
Well, I mean,
And if I have to pick between the two, I'd rather go back to having 6 teams and 2
I
teams
agree.
on bye
I
in
agree.
each conference.
100%. I agree that we don't.
I liked the symmetry of it.
Yeah, I agree. The 7 seed has not added a whole lot of utility to my playoff viewing enjoyment. It's just
Has the 7 seed won one game?
one
I
game.
just
It was,
the,
Evan
the
just said it.
Packers.
And every other 2-7 matchup, the
Has been
2
a
seed has
blowout.
blown the 7 seed out. So it's basically Nick Wright, who is very tiresome during football season because the Chiefs aren't good, and he always predicts them to win, and then they win anyway, and he looks like a genius even though he's just a homer. But he referred to when the Chiefs were the 2 seed playing the Steelers, who were terrible, as the 7 seed. He said, this is better than a bye because it's like a live practice. And we just get to thump this team and get some vibes going. And sure enough, the Chiefs walloped the Steelers in Kansas City.
And they used that momentum to carry them through the rest of the playoffs.
Well, they played the Bills next week, and that was the 13 seconds game.
Right.
And then it looked like the Chiefs were going to win the Super Bowl, and then they somehow lost to the Bengals because they just forgot how to football for a half. Anyway, that's enough about this game, which we weren't even talking about this game anymore, so we got off track.
Clearly enough.
Which is what we do. All right, so the sort of upset of the week, not sort of, this absolutely was the upset of the week, was the Browns beating the Packers 13-10. The Packers were up 10-0 in this game, and then it was gone. And they lost. Not only did they lose, they didn't even make it to overtime in this bad boy. Gave up 13 unanswered points. They had a blocked kick.
Yes, they did.
Which affected the outcome of this game dramatically. But also, shout out to Myles Garrett, because my goodness, like he might say this is better than having a sack recorded, where he cooked a guy on an inside move so badly that you could hear on the hot mic the lineman says, "Jordan, run!" it's like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park was coming in like a horror movie. Run!
Oh no!
Yeah, and Miles is having just the time of his life telling his teammates about it on the bench because
Salivating like Bruce from Finding Nemo.
yeah, just all the teeth
Yes.
and stuff. Yeah, but yeah, so this game was won by the defense. The Packers' offense couldn't do anything, and the Browns' defense has looked good in all 3 games except not against Baltimore. They looked bad, but they did stop the run.
Even so, the Browns went into this game as the number 1 defense in the NFL in terms of points allowed and I think yards allowed. And they didn't do anything in this game to change that. They continue to look really good, which is why I think that game is going to be somewhat important for the Lions this coming week. It's at home for the Lions, but we're playing against a team that just shut down the Packers offense, which had been looking pretty good in the first 2 weeks. And they kept their offense in it long enough that once they got a few drives rolling at the end of the game, they were still in a position where they could win it, and that's what they did.
I mean, the Browns lost to the Ravens.
Judkins looked really good for the Browns.
The Browns lost to the Ravens by like 30 because the Browns offense turned the ball over a few times and the Ravens had some short fields. But it was that Cleveland defense was balling out the whole game. But, if the offense turns it over a bunch, there's really only so much the defense can do.
Yeah.
So the Browns defense is still incredible. Jim Schwartz is defensive coordinator. He's a mad scientist or something. I don't know what the secret sauce is. Maybe it's just having Myles Garrett, who's unstoppable.
He's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And also, it's not just Myles Garrett. It's like in previous years where Myles Garrett has been a demon on the defensive line, the Browns haven't necessarily had the interior offensive line to sort of complement that.
Line.
And as a result, Myles Garrett almost he got his sacks, but you could still run on the Browns. You could sort of run away from Myles Garrett. That's not a thing this year.
No.
They've got guys all up and down that front 7 that can make plays. And Denzel Ward is still a very good corner. He's a first-round pick,
Grant Delpit still.
Yeah, if he's not hurt, because he's always hurt. But when he's on the field, he's good.
Yes.
But, this defense was built to succeed in the Baker years. And there's still a bunch of holdovers from that time, and the defense has stayed good. It's just that they can't get the quarterback right after they traded away the number 1 pick who won them a playoff game, their only playoff win in their history.
Yep.
And they gave him away to go get Nasty Boy, and he can't play football anymore. So tough luck. But this Browns team is intriguing to me because they're 1-2. They should be 2-1. They should have beaten the Bengals in Week 1, and that was with Joe Burrow. And
the Browns could play spoiler for a lot of teams, right? Because the AFC North is playing the NFC North this year.
I mean, I think I'm with you though, Eric. That I don't even necessarily know that you're calling them a spoiler.
That's not what I was alluding to.
Typically, you refer to a spoiler as a team that's completely out of it, but still plays some good teams close enough that you can spoil their playoff opportunities. This is a team that could potentially play its way into a 6 or 7 seed.
They were in the
AFC.
playoffs 2 years ago with Joe Flacco at quarterback. We saw that happen.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of Joe.
And then they didn't make the playoffs. So, now he's back. So, again, what I'm saying is it's not just the fact that the defense is good and they have an adult in the room at quarterback in Joe. The AFC is thin. It's a very top-heavy conference.
Yeah.
We know about the Ravens are going to win the division, even regardless of what happens, this week against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
There's nobody that can stop them.
No,
in
the
that division.
Steelers look bad. Their offense looks bad. Their defense is kind of middling right now.
And the
Without Joe
Patriots
Burrow,
handed
the
them the
Bengals
game
don't have a
anyway.
prayer.
Yeah.
So, it's the Ravens there.
And
It's the Bills in the East.
and then it's the Chargers and the Chiefs,
Yeah.
who we presume are going to get back into it, and then whoever
And then
wins the South.
somebody's going to win the South.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get a second playoff team from the South. You'll
Yeah,
probably
so
get a
there's-
second playoff team from the West. But there's no guarantee you're going to get a second playoff team from the East. Like, you could. But, it's wide
I think
open.
it'd be a
There are-
third.
yeah.
There are at least 2 spots that are wide open right now, and the Browns are absolutely contender for one
Yeah,
of them.
you can't tell me that there's no chance that the Browns are better than, say, like the Texans who were 0-3, or the Patriots who are 1-2, like
Dolphins.
or the Dolphins
Oh.
who are trash, right? Or anybody in the North that's not Baltimore, right? Like they could finish in second place with Burrow out, with the Steelers looking like crap, and somehow still the Steelers might still win 9 games just because of voodoo magic to keep Tomlin employed or something, but that seems not good. So I mean, I'm just saying the Browns are a little frisky. I'm not saying they're gonna make it, but I'm saying
I think they've got as good a shot as anybody,
After
and
Thanksgiving,
better shot than most.
when they flash the graphic up for who's in the hunt, I expect to see the Browns in the hunt at that point of the season. So
Yeah. The balance of power between the two conferences seems like it's just shifted overnight. Like for the last 5-ish years, it was the AFC is this team and this team and this team and this team and this team, and then the NFC, just had, just famous teams, right? But they weren't any good.
yeah,
but
you're
now
like the 49ers
Yeah,
who
the
were good
49ers.
and the Eagles who were good, but it was mostly just whoever wins that matchup's going
Right.
to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right, so one last game. I don't want to spend too much time on this one because it's not a particularly interesting set of teams. Well, the Bucks are interesting, but the Jets are not. But this game was won at the gun because of some more hilarity.
Thoroughly entertaining.
This featured a blocked kick returned for a touchdown.
And a great dance on the sideline by
Yes.
Aaron Glenn.
your boy Aaron
Yes.
Glenn,
Incredible.
who became an instant sensation as a meme, and then they lost because the Bake Show came to town.
I'm happy for Baker.
I'm gutted
I
for Aaron
love
Glenn.
seeing him go 3 for 3 in fourth quarter comeback game-winning drives. I feel bad for Aaron Glenn.
That's tough. I mean, that would have been such a cool way to get your first win as a
Yes.
coach. And the Bake Show took it from him.
Because
Took
he's
it from
good.
us.
Because he's good.
He's
and
very,
Emeka
very good.
Ibuka is him. He's the dude. He is awesome.
Yeah,
As
so-
if the all-time leading receiver in Ohio State history is any good.
yeah.
Ohio State has been pumping him out lately.
Well, and there's one notable exception to that, and his name is Maserati Marv, because he's a bum.
He's been really bad.
He is a
Like Jackson Smith and Jigba is good.
yes.
Marv, not so much.
My boy who used to play for the Saints, Michael Thomas, was an Ohio State guy. And
I thought you were going to say Chris Olave.
well, Chris Olave was also an Ohio State guy, but he's always on a stretcher, just like Michael Thomas.
Stretcher.
Who was the other Ohio State guy that came out recently?
Garrett
though?
Wilson?
Garrett
Yeah,
Wilson's an
Garrett
Ohio
Wilson,
State guy.
who he's been kind of cooled off lately.
He's
but
muted
that's
by bad
largely
quarterback
because
play,
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
He's had to deal with Aaron Rodgers. So
He's
we
still better
can
than Marvin
forgive him.
Harrison right now.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison doesn't look like he knows how to play football anymore. Like, I don't understand what happened to him. But, yeah, Malik Neighbors is clearly the best of that draft class right now because my boy Brian Thomas Jr. is having
He's turned into a
problems.
pumpkin. Like, what happened to him? He was supposed to be the next guy.
Trevor
Trevor
Lawrence
Lawrence
got
threw him a
him-
couple of hospital balls in the preseason.
preseason, and
and
now
now
he's
he's
scared.
to death of any ball in traffic. He ducks down when he knows that there's a defender draped over him with the ball coming at him in the end zone.
Well-
in the end zone, where a catch will be a touchdown. It's 6 points.
I thought
90%
Brandon and I
of the
were
game was
friends.
half a minute.
Brandon completely fleeced me with that trade at this point. I'm distraught.
Wait, what was the trade?
I traded for Brian Thomas Jr. to use as a keeper because I didn't have.
and gave Brandon a couple of rounds of draft
I
capital.
gave him a 5th for a 7th, which with the way Brian Thomas Jr. played last year, That looked like a good deal.
I thought it was fair. I didn't
Yeah.
think it was outrageous.
I didn't think it was
thought
outrageous
It was maybe
either.
a little bit in Brandon's favor, but not significantly.
Well, it should be in Brandon's favor because he got to keep Malik Neighbors instead, and he's actually good. So, anyway, that's enough about. Again, we're not talking about the Bucks and Jets anymore.
No,
so,
we're not.
All right, let's.
We barely spent any time on that.
It was.
Well, I didn't want to spend time on it because again, it's not. It wasn't that good of a game on paper.
It was just
coming
exciting
into
at the end.
Yeah, the end was wild.
Because it was like the blocked field goal return for a touchdown for the Jets that should have won it happened like almost simultaneously with the Eagles blocked kick for a touchdown that extended their win and covered the spread for us.
Yeah. Well, before we get rolling here, we got a couple of games to highlight for Week 4. It's not really a great slate, but I wrote down 3 games. I don't know if you guys took a look. You seem to concur that they're the worthwhile games.
Another apple picking Sunday.
Yeah, I might make a run up to New England if the weather's good and try to go to Six Flags. Might do that. Anyway, the first game I put on here was Colts-Rams because, as we said, we kind of have to talk about the Colts. Because they're 3-0, and
Indiana Jones,
and they actually look kind of good. Again, limiting, measuring expectations. They beat the Dolphins in Week 1, and we don't like the Dolphins. We think they suck. Mm-hmm. And they beat the tar out of the Titans this week, and we know the Titans suck. Mm-hmm. But they beat those teams.
The Broncos gave that game away.
And the Broncos gave the game away. But they beat those teams by in a more impressive fashion than the Bills beat the Dolphins at home.
Yes.
The Rams didn't beat the Titans like the Colts did, right? The Broncos certainly didn't beat the Titans like the Colts did.
The Colts are looking like a pretty complete team. Their defense looks really strong. Nick Cross has been killing it. DeMatha guy right there.
Yeah. Shout out.
So happy to see him playing well. But the whole defense, like Kenny Moore, who I had barely heard his name since back when we were all playing in that dynasty league and we drafted him as in our IDP league. That was a while ago now.
I paid no attention to that.
Yeah, I know.
So,
but
I know you did.
We drafted Kenny Moore in that league.
That website was
Who
an
was that
abomination.
anymore?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
He's the defensive back for the Colts.
Whatever.
It was an IDP league.
I know,
doesn't
but
we're not spending that much time.
We're not
on
talking
Colts.
about that. We're talking about the Colts because in addition to their defense looking really good, he briefly mentioned Daniel Jones actually looks like he could be a good quarterback. Not necessarily great, but he looks good. He's playing well. He's made some throws out of the pocket that are. I'm having a hard time jiving them with the Daniel Jones that we have come to know and love to hate.
Well, I will gladly be a yum yucker for Daniel Jones because I'm just not a believer in this guy.
I'm not either, but he looks good right now.
But the Dolphins have already quit on the season. The Titans are garbage, and the Broncos defense.
Eric has already said all of that,
and they're a colossal disappointment so far.
Eric has said all of that, but he also fairly pointed out that they have beaten those teams by more impressive margins than teams who we agree are good have beaten those teams by. So you have to give some credit to the Colts. Jonathan Taylor is the RB1 in fantasy right now and is incredible. That touchdown run, that 40-something yard touchdown run he had on Sunday was insane. He broke 3 different tackles that all should have independently taken him to the ground. And no, just dancing in the end zone at the end of it.
So, again, some notes about what this team is doing and what this quarterback is doing. And again, we always have to be aware that it's Daniel Jones and it could be pumpkin time at any time.
Next week we could be back here saying, he was who we thought he was.
And
y'all tried to let him off the hook.
The Rams did not let him
this
off
is
the
on
hook.
tape on the internet forever.
Yes, forever. But Daniel Jones right now, my favorite stat that you can actually pull from the box score is adjusted net yards per attempt. And it's my favorite stat because it is the number one stat when it comes to correlation to offensive production.
Yep.
I ran regressions on it like a complete nerd 5 years ago. That and DVOA were right up against each other, and I don't have access to DVOA anymore. It's paywalled.
Thanks, Football Outsiders.
Yeah, for going away. And thank you, Aaron Schatz, for not making it free anymore. Jerk. But we still love you.
But we still
call him Shats.
But we still have this other stat.
Yeah, adjusted net yards per attempt,
as good a job.
It does about a good job, and Daniel Jones leads the league in that, and also indexed. And his number is the index number, which is Anya plus, if you will.
Yeah, so it's 100 means that you're
It's
average.
average, and so each point above that is your percentage that you're above average. He's at a 136 this year. And 136 is typically more than good enough to win the MVP. Like Lamar Jackson last year.
Has anybody actually finished a season with a 136?
Oh, a lot of people have, but Lamar Jackson had a 147 last year.
147.
Which is why I thought it was appalling that he did not win the MVP, because Josh Allen was at like a 127, so it wasn't even close.
Well, he was clearly a bum.
Yeah, but I mean he was, but like, but
Well,
my point
127 is still excellent, but it's 20 percentage points lower.
yeah, like so 136 leads
Meanwhile,
the league.
Meanwhile, Daniel Jones is in between those two right now.
Yeah, like I said, 136 is typically more than good enough to win you the MVP award. And again, it's been 3 games, keeping things in perspective, but the Colts, I think at this point, are pretty clearly the favorites to win this division, because the Texans are the team that we thought was going to win the division, and they're 0-3, and their offense can't
They're
get
already
out of neutral.
3 games behind the Colts.
Yeah, they're in trouble. So
It's not good.
Yeah.
This is not baseball.
they're
You
in
don't
Park.
have 159 more games to play.
Right.
Yeah. So there's no
How about
catch-up time for
neutral?
them. Meanwhile, the Rams, I think, are
they're
clearly the
reversed.
best. I think they're the best team in the West, despite the fact that the 49ers are 3-0. They feel like the fakest 3-0 of all time. Like, they beat the Saints by 1 possession, which means you suck, because
The Seahawks
we watched
absolutely
the Seahawks
obliterated-
brutalize the Saints. We watched the 49ers beat the Seahawks in week 1 because that weird defensive back for the Seahawks just forgot how to function as a human and couldn't just knock a ball down or pick it off. He let some dude moss him from the side somehow. I still don't really understand what happened there. It was outrageous, and
From the side.
like,
I apologize to any of our listeners whose eardrums just exploded.
well,
Blame the guy who got mossed from the side.
Yes.
That's his fault.
and then the 49ers they won a terrible game against the Cardinals this week, 16-15. Another kick
Oh,
at the
God.
gun. Mac Jones almost threw the game away because that's what Mac Jones does. And Nick Bosa just tore his ACL. So that defense was already thin. Now Fred Warner's the only guy we know. It's a bunch of other guys named Joe. So I'm not expecting that defense, which has played better than expected so far this year. I'm not expecting that to continue with their best defensive player out for the year. So the Rams, best team in that division. The Colts, this is the Colts' chance to really show something.
Yeah.
Like, if they want...
We just said that despite their loss to the Eagles, the Rams looked impressive in this game.
Like,
Yeah.
I currently have the Rams among the teams that I could see realistically winning the Super Bowl. I don't have the Colts there. But if the Colts do something impressive this week, I might have to reconsider it, because this is their first real test against a bona fide contender.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk Ravens-Chiefs, a battle of 1 and 2 teams. And the question is...
supposed to be good.
The question is, which team needs this win more? And I think it's pretty obvious that the Chiefs need it more, but
Yeah.
I do understand from a Ravens perspective, from an emotional standpoint,
Yeah.
they need to get a win. They need to beat one of the
win
good teams
somewhere.
on the schedule.
Yeah, that's important, but the rest of the Ravens division is so bad right now
Yeah.
that even losing this game, regardless of what the Browns do, the Ravens should win this division, even if they start the season 1-3.
I agree.
The Chiefs are
I think
in
if the Chiefs
dire
lose, they're
straits
screwed.
if they
can
lose
forget
this, because they're actually dealing with a good Chargers team, a decent Broncos team, and just continued bad vibes
Yeah, I agree.
that the Chiefs players have never experienced before. Not one player on that team
'Cause they
has
just keep
experienced
winning all the
bad
time.
vibes like this.
And another thing is, I'm sure that the Chiefs fans and the Chiefs team still has hope, belief that they can maybe still win this division. But the thing is, we talked about the schedule before, and how your first place schedule makes life more difficult for you. In comparison with the Chargers, who finished in second place last year, so the difference shouldn't be that stark, but it really is, because the 3 teams off the top of my head that the Chiefs play, that the Chargers don't play, are the Ravens, which is this week, the Lions in a couple of weeks before, and Rashee Rice will not be back for that game, and then they have to go to Buffalo.
Oh.
Meanwhile, the Chargers get to play the Dolphins instead of the Bills. They get to play the Steelers instead of the Ravens,
And they get to play the
The
Vikings
Vikings
instead
who
of-
don't have a quarterback. So
Right.
Yeah,
the Vikings
exactly.
instead of the Lions.
Yes. So the way I see it, the Chiefs have to at least hold serve in those 3 uncommon games, and it's going to be really tough to do that if you don't win any of them. Because I think the Chargers should win all 3 of those games that I just mentioned. Now, we know things happen. You could lose one. But clearly, out of those 3, I would expect the Chargers to gain ground on the Chiefs. But the Chiefs could sort of mitigate that if they get this one this week at home against the Ravens.
Yep.
Because I see a lot more losses on their schedule, the Chiefs, than I do on Baltimore's the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Ravens winning this game is a moral victory for them to be like, hey, okay, we got one against a quality team on the road. We're still that team. And then they start rolling, and but the thing is, again, if the Ravens lose this game, I still expect them to win 12, 13 games. If the Chiefs lose this game, they might only win like 10, 9 maybe.
Only 10?
Which, again, in the AFC with the lack of wild card contenders, that might be good enough to squeeze in, but then you're going to have to go to Buffalo or Baltimore or, wherever to play your first round game, and you're you're dealing with a season where it's like, we're not that good. Maybe you get knocked off, and, we're kind of talking about is the run, I'm not going to say over, because you're always going to be good if you got Mahomes and Reed, but it feels like maybe this isn't their year. But if they win this game, the vibes are kind of back.
The Chiefs have the Jags on October 6th, so they should beat them. And there's Raiders and Washington in here. Dallas is in here.
Don't dismiss the Commodes. They were in the playoffs last year. They went to the NFC
And
Championship.
Jaden Daniels not dealing with like a long-term injury
He'll
as
be
far
back
as we
for that
know.
game.
Yeah, that's on
But,
October 27th.
Marcus Mariota looked good this week.
He did.
So, all right, last game to talk about before we get out of here is Eagles-Bucks. And these are 2 3-0 teams.
Yep.
First place. They've met before in the playoffs in recent history, and the Bucks low-key have kind of had the Eagles' number. Right, they dropped them in that playoff game in 2023, where the Eagles kind of quit on the season bizarrely after they beat the Chiefs. But they also got 2 years prior. Now, granted, that was with Tom Brady at quarterback, and that was with a first-year starter in Jalen Hurts. But it seems like the Bucks have a little something for this team every now and then. So a lot of people are probably thinking the Eagles are better, but Tristan Wirfs is back this week for the Bucks, and their offensive line has been really struggling without him. And while Mike Evans just went down with a hamstring injury, Chris Godwin's back this week, and we know Abuke's great, so that that's a good 1-2 tandem. And we know about Bucky Irving, we know about what they have in the running game. I'm excited to watch this one.
Yeah. Godwin is supposed to be back this week. It's not a done deal, but he is expected to be back. Mike Evans is going to miss. They're expecting a few weeks, but yeah, like you said, like this is, this should have the Bucks playing at roughly the same level that they have been. Granted, Godwin may need a couple weeks to kind of ramp up, but he's been able to practice a little bit with the team because they never put him on the PUP.
Yep.
If they had, he wouldn't be eligible to come back this week. So that's a benefit for them. Bucky Irving has been really good. Rashad White has actually looked halfway decent this year when they've got him into the mix. I mean, this is a game where I really think the Eagles have to let Jalen Hurts loose throwing the ball and getting the ball downfield, because this Bucks defense is not significantly better than it was last year. It's a solid unit, but it's not significantly better than it was last year. And if you remember, Kirk Cousins absolutely obliterated them through the air twice in like 3 or 4 weeks' time with the Falcons. He threw for like 400 plus yards in one game, high 300s the other game. I think he threw for like 7 or 8 total touchdowns in those 2 contests against the Bucks. Their defensive backs can get beat. And you've got 2 really good wide receivers for the Eagles who can beat coverage if you just let Jalen Hurts sling it.
Yeah. Anything on this game, Evan?
No, not really. I started daydreaming. I was thinking about the Falcons. They lost 30-0 to the Panthers.
I was thinking about this too because they still have Kirk Cousins on the team.
Yeah,
they do. They put him in the game at the end of last week, and they probably
did?
should continue starting him. Yeah, they benched Penix and they put Kirk Cousins
Well, they were
in.
getting smoked by the Panthers of all teams, man. Like this division race is over. Like the Falcons look like the only team that could have a chance to maybe do something,
and
they just
incompetent.
got rolled by the
Panthers.
Panthers. And Corey was trying to sneak in a little.
No, I was just saying. I was just gonna say Penix sucks, but yes, you did say something else in the group chat.
I'm not going to finish that thought.
Penix sucks Penix.
Oh my God, Corey. This is a clean podcast per our rating.
I just said the man's name twice, Eric.
I know.
Yeah. At least you didn't misspell it on the Chiron like the Atlanta News did.
That did happen. So that exhausts.
Totally an original joke as well.
Yeah,
you know,
he only played
he's
college
definitely
football
never
for
heard
a
that.
decade. and he
Left-handed
never heard
quarterbacks in Atlanta named Michael. Name a better combination.
that. See, now we're going there. Don't tell Kyler Murray that he'll dress up like Michael Vick with his pit bull again. Unbelievable. All right, well, that exhausts our topics and probably your patience. So let's wrap this thing up. Before we get rolling, shout-outs. Evan, do you have a shout-out?
I mean, shout out all the workers at Hershey Park putting up with me for another week. Had a great time.
All right, Corey?
Shout out to Jordan Sharps for being a good sport today. He's a big Ravens fan on DeMathis faculty, and we had a jersey bet this week. I thought for sure I'd be wearing a Lamar jersey.
Lamar Jersey Jackson. Kind of like that.
I mean,
right.
Lamar needs a
Jackson
nickname,
jersey
so-
today. I was sure I was going to be wearing it. But no, he got to wear my Almonds-Bra St. Brown jersey today. So thank you to him for being a good sport. And also shout out to Asia Wilson winning her 4th WNVP award. Congratulations to her.
All right, love that. Yeah. All right, so my shout-out is, surprisingly, and that's why it's a shout-out, to the Maryland Terrapins football team, who is 4-0, went up to Wisconsin and pummeled the Badgers.
Really?
Yes, handled them.
Are you serious?
Smoked them. This happened. I'm not making this up.
Oh.
I think the final score was 27-10, but it was effectively 27-3 because Wisconsin scored a touchdown in garbage time with like 10 seconds left or
So
something.
you were jumping around, apparently.
I was quietly enjoying myself. Yes. So
After
after
you're keeping it a clean podcast.
so after picking the Terps to go 3-9. They've already won 4 games in 4 tries, so that was wrong. And now I'm like, hey, we might go bowling this year. So shout out to Malik Washington, the true freshman quarterback for the Terps. He is the truth. I hope he sticks around because NIL has made that not necessarily a certainty.
It sounds like some alumni need to open up their checkbooks a little bit.
Go
you
talk. Go talk.
Sounds like Ray Allen may need to sue somebody. I'm just kidding.
Ray Allen.
Wasn't he the truth?
No, that was Paul Pierce.
That was Paul Pierce. I knew it was one of those
Yeah,
two.
you were in the
Celtics.
ballpark. They were on the same team.
I also think it's worth pointing out that the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are ranked 16 right now in the AP poll. Alabama is ranked 17.
And Clemson.
Is Notre Dame still ranked? Well, I guess they would be because they did win this week finally.
I think Clemson's unranked.
They should be because they're like 1-3. They're terrible.
Yeah. I mean, lose
Dabo's
to
gonna get
Georgia Tech.
fired. Anyway. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. You can get this podcast on Apple, Spotify, or you could tune in on YouTube. And let us know if you have a particular podcatcher that we are not on, and we will do our best to accommodate you. You can reach us at thesportsballers@gmail.com. Give us any feedback or topic ideas, or if you just want to gripe about stuff, we don't care. We just want to hear from you. You can also follow us at SportsBallers18 on Twitter. You can follow us individually. I am at Quagmire67, Corey is at Corey Puffett, and Evan is at Evan_Ash13. Thank you guys again for tuning in. We will be back next week to recap Week 4. We'll probably start getting into some postseason baseball because the postseason starts, I believe, next Tuesday. So look out for that, and we'll also do a little bit of Week 5 look ahead. Until then, take it easy.